Oil prices are basically on the rise here again. Traders are beginning to smell an economic recovery that always gets oil prices going, but they're obviously a far cry from where they were a couple of years ago. Does the company have a strike price where they know that they can still be profitable?
Well, we were profitable at $30 a barrel when we started out. The profitability does not have to do with the price as such as what kind of property you get. At $100, at basically $60 a barrel and 100 barrels a day, then we break even on everything we do. If we go to 150 barrels a day, even at the same price, $60, then we make a good profit for the company and the investors that are there. But our goal is $60 a barrel right now, and to get to 200 to 300 barrels a day, and we're very profitable at that point.
Again, the company is Lucas Energy Incorporated. They're listed on the American Stock Exchange, LEI. And again, our toll-free number from anywhere in the world, 888-259-4449 for free information in the mail. Now, Bill, the company, since its inception, has been very active in getting its hands on a lot of wells. Is that an activity that we can expect to see continue?
Yes, that will continue. Even though we've completed phase one as we defined it, that is getting upwards of 10 or 15,000 acres with 30 or 40 wells on it, we continue to expand phase one. We recently did make an acquisition of some shut-in wells and about 3,000 acres, and we will continue to do that in the future.
Well, now, Bill, of course, you're a domestic oil and gas company. There must be a certain level of satisfaction about that, considering all of the negative attention that's being paid toward oil imports and all the geopolitical problems that solves.
There's a lot of satisfaction in it. The satisfaction that we're taking old wells and putting them back on, that the landowners or mineral owners receive money from when we put wells on from their royalty. The county receives taxes from our putting the wells back on. And in general, we help put us in a position that we're not importing as much oil, which I think is a good benefit to us.
Well, you know, I was looking at your press releases here recently, particularly over the last 6 weeks. I see things like 5 new wells. I see an acquisition. I see the completion of a well. Is this much activity pretty much business as usual for Lucas?
Yes, it is. We are not an acquisition company as such, but we do make acquisitions that give us shut-in or plugged wells and acreage. We are in a joint venture currently with another partner. Our joint venture includes 6 wells. We're hoping to do another joint venture that might include as many as 20 wells in the last portion of this year. And we continue to put on wells back on production. We went through a phase that we didn't do this last year. Even though we had a 7% increase in our production and no capital budget, last year the costs were too high in order for us to do any work. So we decided to put that off until this year, and this year costs are much lower. A drilling rig used to be $18,000 a day. Now it's $9,000 a day. We used to pay $450 for a workover rig for an hour. Now we pay $230 an hour. So this is the time. Prices are going back up. The costs are not going back up. And we expect to continue our current program.
Again, Lucas Energy, LEI, on the American Stock Exchange. Bill, why is this a good time right now for folks to take a closer look at your company?
This is a good time because we survived the downturn. The downturn was caused by a number of things. One is the stock market in general. 2, oil prices went to $32 a barrel last February. 3 is that we had a lot of hedge funds in our stock and weren't spread out. We've changed those things. Number 1, the price or the cost of doing business in going in and working over wells has gone way down from what it was last year at this time. Number 2, oil prices have jumped back from $30 a barrel up to 60, 65, and hopefully maybe 70, which is a good range for us. Finally, the other thing we did is we went in and tried to get as many average investors in. We've gone from 500 investors to about 2,000 now. We have about 80% of our stock is in the float. We don't have a lot of restricted stock. And we think that the trend that we're in, the Austin Chalk trend, turns out to also be a trend of the Eagle Ford Shale, which is the new incoming formation. There's been a well drilled offset to our property in the Eagle Ford Shale. We expect news on it. We've actually completed 2 wells in the Buddha formation, which is another formation in this trend, and we think that we have the potential for increasing reserves, increasing cash flow, increasing production, and hopefully increasing our stock price.
Well, Bill, we're initiating coverage of Lucas Energy this week. Looking forward to a lot of updates from the company over the next 3 or 4 months. Thanks so much for joining us on the show.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate being on the show.